Mississippi Valley Regional Blood Center is the steward of our donors' life-saving donations, taking care of all steps from recruiting, collection, testing, processing, and finally delivering that unit of blood to the hospitals we serve. How do we do it? This tour of our blood center will show you how.
Every day we collect anywhere from 650 to 1,000 units of blood, and we have a huge impact on patients, on family members of patients, on the loved ones. So the patient recovers, the patient lives longer, the patient survives completely after maybe a car accident. And it's not just the patient, it's the loved ones and the family members and the friends of that patient who are being impacted as well. We have donor centers where donors come to us. We have a pretty standard design: screening rooms, collection area, canteen. We also have several mobile teams who go out every day in different climates: rain, sleet, snow, it doesn't matter. We go out and have that blood drive. They go in and they set up a blood drive, which is pretty much all of the same equipment that we have at a donor center, only we've gone to where the donors are, whether that be a church basement, the conference room of a business, a factory break room, a high school gymnasium. I have been to blood drives just about everywhere. There are hundreds of pages of criteria that we use to screen donors. So they have to be able to understand how to use those documents. We also are very specific in how we collect a unit of blood. They are really looking for that experience that's engaging, that they feel good about what they've done, that they understand the impact that they have. And all of those are really the soft skills of the technician who's working to create that fantastic donor experience, to make sure that donor understands what kind of impact they're having on people's lives.
Our job is the manufacturing side of production. We take that unit of whole blood and we break it down into its various parts or components, and try to basically use every part that we can to touch as many patients as possible. We're able to make a red cell and a plasma. We can also make a pre-cryo, which is a plasma-based product, and then a whole blood-derived platelet, which is also off the plasma. When you look at components, we are manufacturing. We're the manufacturing wing of the laboratory services. So it's very similar to an assembly line to a certain extent. Our difference is that our commodity is blood. Staff go through an extensive training. It could take up to 10 weeks to train a staff, depending on how many different types of tasks they're going to do. They're trained on the job, hands-on product. We try to share stories that are possible, that are available to us from our recruitment team. That's very helpful to staff because they understand the necessity of the product.
The Blood Center's infectious disease testing is done off-site in a laboratory we've opened along with other independent community blood centers from around the country. The National Blood Testing Collaborative tests blood samples that are shipped each day from our blood drives and donor centers.
So they're testing about 600 to 800 donors a day. The majority of the samples come in between 4 p.m. and 4 a.m. and their samples are processed and tested on the instruments for the various viral markers. And then first shift will come in and do the testing that hasn't been completed and then review the paperwork. So we're screening to see if maybe someone might have the disease, and it gives us a positive or negative test result. Whereas if you go to the doctor and they diagnose you with the disease, they will do further testing that's more definitive and that will actually tell you like your level of disease, or maybe there's different strains of it, what strain you might actually have. You want to make sure that you're a person who has a lot of attention to detail and can really make sure that they're documenting the correct times, the correct lot numbers, and then making sure that you're accountable for all of your work.
Our reference lab is very patient focused. Before somebody receives a blood transfusion at one of our hospitals, they do testing before to determine the patient's blood type and if there's any red cell antibodies present. And if there are, some of the hospitals are capable of handling their own resolve their own problems, and some aren't. And so the ones that aren't, or the more difficult cases, get sent to our reference labs. We'll do testing on the patient samples to determine the blood type, identify the antibodies that are present, and then match up the donor blood that is and find compatible blood for our patients.
Facilities is a support department. We're made up of maintenance and warehouse. We cover all of the buildings, the fleet, the equipment, and the warehousing. So we don't collect blood, we don't manufacture it, and we don't distribute it, but we do everything behind the scenes to help support operations. We have over 20 facilities. Southernmost is St. Louis, eastern is Danville, Illinois, almost to the Indiana border, north to Madison, Wisconsin, and west to Ottumwa.
Hospitals will call and will communicate via the telephone, as well as we have an online ordering system that's called Blood Hub. So Blood Hub is kind of unique in its own. It's kind of as easy as if you were to order a pizza online, ordering what products are needed for that day or for the week, whatever the hospital is anticipating their usage to be, and then submitting it that way. So that order comes directly to the department and actually alarms us and dings to us when that order has been dropped into our location. This is one storage unit that we have here in Davenport. So right now you're seeing her pulling units that are based off of that Blood Hub order that we talked about earlier. So this is actually how we are storing our units in the refrigerator itself. We usually keep 10 deep and then in 3 rows, and of course it's dating, so we actually pull shortest date to longest date based off of a left to right basis. That's our main goal, is getting those products out the door as quick as possible. Everyone here is here for one reason, and that's to save and help patient lives.
The Director of Quality Support Services is responsible for ensuring quality amongst all departments and compliance amongst all departments with regulations and different standards and accrediting agencies that we are accredited by. So really just monitoring and overseeing and really ensuring that we're meeting those quality standards and following our regulations, that we're training our staff appropriately. If we have issues that we have to report, then ensuring that we report those appropriately in a timely manner, and really just driving and focusing on the overall quality of collections of our products. Documentation is very important. If it's not documented, it didn't happen. It also provides us trackability, traceability for that unit collection. If something happens and we need to go back and review the overall donation collection of that unit, we go back and re-reference the documentation. From the minute that a staff member gets hired, the training begins, and the training is the core, the foundation for our company, as with any other company, and really just focusing on ensuring our staff understand our standard operating procedures and following those procedures step by step. So when the FDA comes in to inspect us, what they're looking for is just to ensure that we're following our standard operating procedures, that we're following the regulations that they have set forth for us to abide by and follow. For a patient, knowing that we instill so much in the quality of our products, it really gives them a sense of just being able to feel confident in receiving that blood, maybe help ease their fears of receiving a transfusion. Just knowing that we place so much emphasis on the quality of our products, that we will not release anything less than the best out our door. So really providing that level of comfort to our communities, hospitals, and ultimately the patients.
One of the number one reasons people don't give is because they've never been asked to give before. So our goal is to get that question out there. We have several call centers with schedulers whose primary job is to contact existing donors to get them to keep coming back and to schedule their next appointment and remind them when they are ready to make their appointment. We also have about 45 individuals and we're growing, that are out there in the field working externally with groups to host blood drives. For blood drive hosts, sponsor groups that are willing to let us come into their facilities, they open up their doors to us. They really only need to provide us space. that is well lit, that has enough room for us to bring in our equipment and help spread the word about their blood drive event. We help every step of the way. We provide materials. We have consultants that work with every group and help them understand the best ways to get people involved. Technology has been a tremendous help to us in terms of spreading the word. Social media is a place where everyone is at. And so having a presence on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn really has allowed us to share our story with people who've never heard of us before. There are a lot of people that are out there in the community that think if something bad happens to someone I know, or if there is a disaster, then I'll step up and give blood. And if I could share one message with people, it would be that it is the blood that was already donated by the selfless volunteer that came in yesterday, a week ago, last month. It is their blood that is already available, tested, processed, and on the shelf at the hospital ready to go when a crisis happens.
We handle all the software platforms, applications, and databases. We handle security, we operate the help desk, and we work with departments both individually and at an organizational level to ensure that we are providing the right technology tools. We also travel from site to site to deploy hardware and ensure that our network infrastructure is serviceable and maintained. The expectation is that our hardware and software systems run all of the time. We have a low threshold for downtime because of the importance of the products that we provide our customers, and that requires us to engineer tons of redundancy into our system. Most of the downtime that we incur is the result of planned maintenance and scheduled outages throughout the year. We understand there are technology challenges for all levels of staff throughout our organization, and we want them to be comfortable calling us, submitting a ticket, and knowing that we are taking whatever problem they're having seriously. One of our core values is to be understanding, and whatever problem they're having with the technology we have provided is a real problem, and we do not want to leave the impression that we're trying to brush them off.
We want people who are going to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Do the right thing when no one's watching. People who know their jobs, know when they need to ask questions about their jobs, seek additional information. We want people who are positive in their communication, who are very clear in their communication, who listen well, who follow instructions, and who also provide great feedback. With our cooperation, we're a team. Whether you're a team of 5 or a team of 10 or a larger team, we all have to work together. What one department does feeds into the role of another department, so everything connects directly or indirectly. It's easy to get behind our mission. We save lives.